Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new season of Planet of the Capes. I'm Ardella, a devotee to the wonderful world of cosplay, and I'm so excited to be back. This time though, we're going to be trying something a little different. We'll still be featuring some amazing cosplayers from around the world and taking a look at some local cosplay events, but we'll also be discussing some of the really big topics surrounding cosplay, and I really want to hear what you think. Not all that long ago, cosplay was a very niche hobby. Not a lot of people knew about it, and if you did try to explain it to someone who was out of the loop, they'd probably think you were completely crazy. More and more over the last few years though, cosplay has become increasingly accepted into the wider community. A lot of people attribute its growing popularity to the growing number of attractive cosplayers coming onto the scene, with costumes that appeal to the masses. That can mean they're cosplaying as characters everyone would probably know, or that they're a little skimpier than most. Some of these cosplayers have become so well known that they're recognised the world over and flown to different conventions to appear as guests. They're almost like cosplay celebrities, and it's impossible to take part in the cosplay community without hearing their names. Some people even call them professional cosplayers, but what does that really mean? To me personally, the term professional refers to someone who engages in a career or occupation that usually involves some level of formal training. When I think of a professional, I think of someone whose main source of income comes from that particular profession, and for cosplayers, that's rarely the case. To me, cosplay is simply a hobby. There are certainly many cosplayers who take commissions and sell costumes, but I would usually refer to them as a seamster. There's also lots of cosplayers that I look up to and admire, but I would be more inclined to call them cosplay idols than professionals. But of course, my opinion is far from the only one that matters. You may remember Eve from our Supernova adventure earlier in the year. Eve is a talented and dedicated seamstress, creating costumes like Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, Navi from The Legend of Zelda, Morticia from The Addams Family, and even Lara Croft. She's also a well-loved and respected member of the cosplay community with more than 50,000 Facebook followers. I've asked her to join us today to give us her thoughts on cosplay fame and glory. So thanks for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
Now Eve, I know you've been cosplaying for a few years, but it's only relatively recently that you've really come into the public eye, so to speak. Has your growing popularity changed the way you approach cosplay?
Yes and no. I don't make any costumes now that I wouldn't have made before. I'm still doing things that I'm passionate about and choosing characters that I love, but I do sort of feel the pressure to make things high quality and to really produce something that people are going to love. So
when you say you feel the pressure, does that mean that people are talking to you more about your costumes, or that they're pushing you to do certain costumes that you wouldn't have done before?
Yeah, certainly. I get a lot of requests on my page for cosplays that I should do, but I generally won't cosplay something if I don't play the game or if I haven't watched the show or whatever it is. But there is a lot of pressure. Say I take a progress shot on my phone of a costume that I'm making and it gets 3,000 people commenting on it saying, I'm so excited for this. It's well, I better do a good job.
Yeah. So does that mean that you think of yourself as a professional cosplayer?
No, not at all. To me, a professional cosplayer is someone who makes an income off it or gets paid to do promotional work or commissions or anything like that. I don't do any of those things. All I do is I make costumes because I love them. I go to conventions and meet people, and yeah, so I'm just still doing it as a hobby.
Excellent. So it's just for the love. It's not for money or anything
Certainly,
like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think of people who do use cosplay as a source of income?
I think it's fantastic. I'm really excited that cosplay can become an industry and that it is progressing to that extent. But for me, obviously, it's just not an opportunity that I've had.
Okay, so if you were to start making money off cosplay, do you think that would change the way that you approach it?
Potentially, yes. I think that once you start making money off it, you definitely have to produce a higher quality product.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, and if someone offered you money to do a character that maybe you weren't so familiar with or that you didn't love as much as the ones that you usually do, would that influence your choice of character?
I think I would definitely have to look into the character and look into whatever it comes from. There are definitely going to be characters and franchises that I personally disagree with, so I wouldn't want to cosplay anything that doesn't really connect with me.
Now, increasingly, there are games developers and even comic book authors that are approaching cosplayers to be involved in part of their projects. If someone was to approach you to be involved in a project like that, would that change the way that you look at cosplay?
Yeah, first of all, I think it's fantastic that cosplayers are becoming more actively involved in the industry and that people are recognising that we do work really hard and we are really passionate. So we're sort of the best people to represent these kind of franchises because we are fans, so we can connect with fans really easily.
Yeah.
I'd love to be involved in something like that, but once again, it has to be a franchise that I really love and that I want to be involved in.
Okay.
And I think that it definitely changes the way that you have to carry yourself at conventions and the way you have to behave at the events, because you're not just representing yourself as a cosplayer, you're representing a company.
Well, thank you so much for coming and joining us. It's been great to have you and to hear your thoughts on the matter.
Thanks for having me.
With such a diverse community surrounding cosplay, there's bound to be a few things people disagree on. That's part of what makes it such an interesting thing to be a part of. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you really think there are professional cosplayers? Are there any other things you want to talk about surrounding cosplay? As always, leave me a comment here or drop me a message over at the Kapow Facebook page. See you next time.